Welcome back, House Republic. Course Round Police Chief APGAINS. Which characters are good enough and their datacrons are good enough to warrant going a little bit out of your way for a couple of Relic roos? Now, I think the main one that jumps off the page is Sidious. Now, I know a lot of people have Sidious. I actually don't think that I do. He's required for something. I imagine it's Sith Eternal Emperor. I don't know if he's required for something else. Let me see. Do I have Sidious? I do not have a Relic Sidious. So I think Sidious is kind of the epitome of characters that are probably not that awesome. However, they warrant consideration for the current set, especially if you're in a place in GAC where you have to punch up quite a bit. It's actually probably one of the only characters I'm considering doing this for. I think since he's a requirement anyway, it might just be like, might as well. But this is fucking ridiculous. Jedi Knight Cal Kestis is solid, but him and Bane are kind of examples of, like, you can't really just do much. BB-8, not so much. Kelleran Bex is pretty good. He's a good character. He's good for the team. It's nice to have him. He's a requirement. I don't know if this is a character that a lot of people are going to really want to bring up to a high level, mostly because it's just out of the way for a lot of people as far as progressions and how systems in the game work. But definitely a good one. Holdo, I mean, Lightspeed Bundle people are just going to rip this. Mace Windu, this one's actually not terrible. I don't know if I would recommend a Mace Windu Relic if you don't already have him reliced. You know what I mean? As a requirement. But if you have him, this is definitely a good one. The Rey one is, solid. Dooku. I actually have not read this one. Whenever Count Dooku gains stealth, they recover 100% protection. Whenever Count Dooku stuns the enemy, Count Dooku gains 10% critical damage, stacking max 200%. 5 speed stacking, max 50 until the end encounter. At this point, you probably have, like, a couple, like, it's probably the second round of Conquest, and you probably have, like, 2 or 3 level 9s. I don't know if I would go Dooku. Stap is a, I just realized, did they say that? I know this is an acronym, but is there an instance, someone find it for me, is there an instance of a B1 yelling, snap, while riding one of these things? Kind of a whale character, doesn't really matter. The Kiadamundi one's actually pretty good. So for those of you guys who are like me, who have Kiadamundi and don't relic him because he's not as cool as we would have hoped, I'm actually really considering ripping a Kiadamundi, applying the Datacron, and then contrary to popular belief, I'm actually considering, like, removing him from Qui-Gon, putting something else in there, and then, like, sticking him over with, like, JMK or something like that. Maybe I move... Oh, God. You have to be there. You have to be there. You have to be there. Probably moving Padme, and then maybe just making it slightly more annoying on defense. I want to try it out and hopefully, like, maybe coerce some of my opponents into fighting it and getting footage for me. I have a theory that it would make it a little bit better. But worst case scenario, I mean, he's, like, one of the only characters on my Qui-Gon team that isn't relicked. So I would have, the possibility to have an actual Datacron on that set. Spy, terrible. Trench, Conquest character, doesn't really matter. Sith Assassin, not really. The Kit Fisto one is, it's got the health steal. It's no. And then Finn, I mean, I wouldn't really worry too much about him unless you already are ripping Lightspeed bundles. And, you'd probably stick this with you'd probably have him on the Zori team and then you run a Rey team. At that point, it's probably like the third round of Conquest for Queen Amidala, unless you're, absolutely going fucking crazy on Conquest. But yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about most of these. But the stats, the 6s are good. A couple of the 9s are really good. The 3s are all right, and the stats are pretty good. So it's still a quality set.